I wanted to start, Mike, by getting your thoughts on the Misfits boxing card from the weekend. KSI versus Tommy Fury and Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis.
What an absolute shit show. Let's be honest. I mean, look, listen, God bless them. They're out there. They're trying to make some money. They're trying to, get through life. Life's tough. It is. And they found a way to make some money, crack the code, hack the system, whatever you want to call it. They're not boxers. They're entertainers, but they're making money, so good for them. If I'm going to critique it as, a fight analyst, it wasn't good. Let's be honest. Logan Paul clearly won the fight, but he was off balance. He looked very amateurish. Dillon Danis should be ashamed of himself. KSI, my word. And Tommy Fury. I mean, come on, listen. Anyone that knows anything about boxing or combat sports knows that was absolutely laughable. KSI was claiming it was a robbery. It was a robbery. Anyone that paid for a ticket or bought the pay-per-view, they were robbed. They deserved their money back. It was an utter shit show, but we'll probably see it again.
Succinctly put. I don't think I've ever heard it put as concisely as that, Mike. I was there in attendance, and it was equally as frustrating. But yeah, moving swiftly on. Tales from the Octagon is back in the UK this December with Manchester and London dates with new special guests this time. Tell us a bit about everything.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I did Tales from the Octagon a couple of years ago, and the reception and the response from everyone that attended was fantastic. Everyone had a great time, and I actually really enjoyed myself as well. And a lot of people were asking, saying, you need to do this again. So the promoters kind of came to me. They organized it all. So yeah, we've got 2 nights, one in London at the Indigo at the O2. And that's December 14th. December 16th, that will be at the Apollo in Manchester again. Last time out, there was 3,500 people there. It was unbelievable. It really was. Everyone enjoyed it. I was shitting my pants because I was definitely out of my comfort zone. But I did enjoy it, and everyone did. That's the main thing. So I'm coming back. Obviously, people don't have to hear my little sob story about losing my eye and all that type of thing. We've done that. We've been through that. Now it's about other people's tales, other people's anecdotes, and some funny stuff that's been happening around the world of mixed martial arts. I'm freezing. I just got out of an ice bath. I'm still shivering. Sorry. Yeah, the thing with mixed martial arts and combat sports in general, there's always so many storylines and things that you can kind of have a bit of a laugh with. So we'll do that. There'll be a lot of crowd participation. There'll be a Q&A. Tom Aspinall and Paul Craig will join me on stage. We'll talk about their careers, some of the ups and downs that they went through, and then we'll do a meet and greet afterwards. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. myticket.co.uk or search Tales from the Octagon 2.
You always tell some great stories, Mike. The way your anecdotes are always extremely entertaining. Have you got any new ones up your sleeve for this tour?
Oh yeah, listen. Sadly, I have lived a very, very colorful life, and I haven't always made the smartest choices. So I've got, how long? I've got, I like to, you can see I'm freezing cold. I just got out of this goddamn ice bath. Figure it, believe it or not, they're pretty cold. Yeah, I've got a lot of anecdotes. I've got a lot of stories. So I won't be being a stand-up comedian as such, but I'll be telling some anecdotes of stuff about me, stuff about other people, other people's tales, taking the piss, having a laugh, poking fun at people in the sport of mixed martial arts, but all in a good way, nothing too nasty. And then, as I say, Paul and Tom will come out and we'll get into some of their stuff as well.
Can you tell us about the time or the number of times you've got on the lash with Big Tom in London ahead of a fight night? Because I know there's probably plenty of tales from those nights out.
You know what? Listen, Tom's a disciplined athlete, sadly, or fortunately, should I say, he's not like me. I'm definitely a bit more of a lad, shall we say. But I think it was when he fought Curtis Blades We went to a restaurant a couple of nights before, and me and Tom were just having a laugh, and we started like, not shadow boxing, but just, I always mess with Tom because he's such a beast and he's so good. And I always want to know if I could have a go. Do you know what I mean? So we always end up like kind of interacting, having a little wrestle. And it was just a bit of fun and games. And everyone in the restaurant, all the staff, they wanted pictures with us and all the rest of it. So it was a nice evening. But then there were some stories came out. I think it was the Daily Mail or something like that. Bisping and Tom Aspinall kicked out of restaurant for starting a fight, which was just utter bullshit, right? It was all tongue in cheek. We were having a laugh, and the manager and the waiters and everything all wanted pictures. But we've definitely indulged. We've definitely had a few beers. Tom came to the first Tales from the Octagon. He absolutely loved it. And then after that, we went out in Manchester down Deansgate Lock and might have put a few away.
Great to see Paul Craig is there as well. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for how well he reads mixed martial arts, how good he is as a pundit himself. He's often used on Five Live's coverage of mixed martial arts for good reason. So to see him involved as well is great from a fan of the sport.
Oh, absolutely.
From the fan of the sport's perspective.
Yeah, no, and on top of that, Paul's absolutely hilarious. He comes on my podcast now and again, and he's a funny guy. So it was a no-brainer having Paul on, and then combine that with what he's doing with his career. He had some incredible wins at light heavyweight. Obviously, he beat the current champ, Jamal Hill. Came down to middleweight, some ups and downs in his career. Came down to middleweight, fought Andre Muniz in London, as I'm sure you know. And I was worried for him because Muniz is a tough fight and he's a great grappler as well. And that's kind of Paul's strong point. And as we know, Paul went out there, dominated the fight, got the second round stoppage, I think it was. But as I say, he's just a funny guy. So there will be a lot of fun and games. He comes on the podcast, and I'm not going to get into it because he's kind of crude, but he's a funny dude, man. He's a funny guy. So don't rest assured, if you come along, if you're a fan of Paul Craig, you're going to get to learn more about him, and we will be having a laugh, that's for sure.
Maybe he'll finally reveal where the Bear Jew nickname comes from, because he's yet to do that, I think.
Oh, really? Oh, we're going to get into that 100%. And if he doesn't reveal it, then there will be consequences. I don't know what those consequences will be. Maybe I'll just have to come out of retirement and punch his head in. You never know.
If anyone from the Daily Mail is watching this, Michael Bisping is not going to be fighting Paul Craig anytime soon.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I'm not. Again, tongue in cheek, having a laugh. I'm old. I'm retired. Paul will kick my ass, So, but I still got it.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on two upcoming fights, Mike, before we sign off. UFC 294 this weekend. Volkanovski against Islam Makhachev. Volk obviously taking the fight at short notice. A bit reminiscent of a certain person's middleweight title victory back in 2016. So how do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, I mean, look, the first fight that they had in February was razor close. And I just watched it back last week. And I actually think Volkanovski won the first fight. I thought Islam did it on the night. But when you're commentating, you're not scoring it from the eyes of a judge. You're just watching it and calling the action. I watched it back. I thought with the way Volk dropped him in round 5, that probably stole it. But regardless, really, really close fight. Volkanovski's coming in short notice. He cannot be in the same kind of condition that Islam's going to be, right? Regardless of how professional he is and how much he looks after his body, etc., etc. He hasn't done a camp like Islam has. So he's going to fade throughout the fight, which is kind of the same position that I was in. So I was like, I got to go out there. I got to swing. And I got the knockout in round 1. And that's exactly what Volkanovski says that he's going to do in this fight. And it's a no-lose situation. If he loses, people say, well, he was man enough to step up and give it a go. And if he pulls it off, then, a legend is born. I mean, he's already a legend. So I think he's going to be very, very excited in round 1 and round 2. If Islam can get to round 3, then he'll probably start to take over, let's be honest, because conditioning is a real factor in the fight. But skill for skill, I think they match up very well. We saw that in the first fight. And I mean, Massive respect to the guy. Unbelievable what he's doing.
Another boxing MMA crossover that we've got coming up, obviously at the end of the month, is Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Tyson told me he'd beat Francis at an MMA fight, and on the same night was telling people that John Jones is getting in next. I mean, what do you make of that fight and of the potential for Tyson to make a transition into MMA?
Yeah, I mean, look, listen, the reality is Tyson Fury, if he did the time, if he did the homework, he probably could. He probably could. He's a fantastic fighter, but at boxing, that's not to say he couldn't go away and spend 2 years. It'd have to be at least 2 years to learn some takedown defense. But learning to wrestle and do jiu-jitsu at a high level takes a lifetime. So he'll always be behind in that regard. Now, that doesn't matter because they're competing in boxing. Francis Ngannou is not a boxer. Yeah, he uses his hands predominantly in the octagon, but it's a different kettle of fish. It's a different kettle of fish completely. Tyson's undefeated at heavyweight. He's the champ. He's the king. He might be the best heavyweight boxer of his generation. You never know. One shot can change everything. Can Ngannou land that shot? Probably not. But the fact that he does have the power to turn someone's lights off gives him a puncher's chance and will make it exciting.